Hey everybody, I am on for the midweek message reveal. It is August 20th. Thank you for being here with me, and let's talk a little bit about the energy this week. First off, happy birthday to all of the Virgo babies. On Friday, we are moving into Virgo season. So that is a mutable earth sign, and mutable energy is wonderfully inconsistent at times. It can be moved and changed, and it does involve some delicate, gentle sort of hands around it, right? So Virgos are known for their ability to be precise, to be organized, to come in with a true healer sense of spirit as an earth sign. They bring with them an energy of efficiency and are very much of the detailed flavor variety, right? So there's complexity there. There's a desire to want to be of service and wanting to organize things so they are in the best flow, and that the energy of, or the spirit of, whatever is being focused upon is portrayed and supported in the best way possible. This leads, unfortunately, to a little bit of perfectionism, a little bit of kind of crabbiness around how things need to be just so. So that energy will be creeping in a little bit too, because remember, we have pros and cons of everything. The universe needs to balance things. When we're moving from a fire sign like Leo into a very stringent and calculated sign like Virgo, we are going from a energy that is very action oriented to one that is a bit more internalized and contained. So while we experience this as a shift in our realities, we're also being influenced by this new moon that is coming in Virgo on the 23rd. What's really interesting about this new moon is that it's at a 0-degree critical point. And what that means is it is the newest level. It is the newest of new moons that there could be. The potential for something completely new is here with this Virgo new moon. So please, please, please use this energy to your advantage. How do you do that? Well, you're going to be setting intentions, and that is through writing, meditating, speaking it out, living it out, drawing it out, however it is that you want to present that energy to yourself and bring yourself into a state of awareness where you can say, these are the things that I'm interested in. This is what I want to bring forward, and here is the plan, right? We haven't really been able to have such detailed, focused energy on anything of late. Virgo season is here to support that. Now, remember, with new moons, what we're looking to do is we're looking to plant seeds for what it is we're looking to have come towards us in the future in the next couple weeks, where full moons are where we're looking to release and let go of things that no longer serve us. That doesn't mean that there aren't things that need to be let go in order for us to accept in the new, and that's where there's going to be a little push-pull energy. Now, putting those seeds of intention out there, it's a great, great time to get clear about what it is you will put up with and not from yourself and others, what you're actually wanting to have happen in your spaces, and how that is going to be respected, and how you respect yourself. So a lot of this energy is focusing on the self in an effort to support the greater whole, okay? And collectively, as you know, we are dealing with all kinds of things that are very much boundary based. So if this energy is making you feel like you need to put your foot down and say, hey, nuh-uh, we're not going to do this anymore, this is where you have to kind of call yourself on your own bullshit. And you know, I'm going to tell you the truth. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the readings. One thing first. Just wanted to mention about Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury has gone direct in Leo, and we do have that pre-period and post-shadow period with Mercury retro. That's 2 weeks before it peaks and then 2 weeks after. We're scooting right out here, smelling like a daisy on the 25th with that shadow period closing on the post-end. That doesn't mean that there won't be some like weird little technological issues that may come up, or misconstrued understandings is kind of a theme. That Virgo energy is going to be a little nitpicky around it, though. So just be careful how you're saying stuff. Understand that you might not be as clear as you might want to be, and the effort that you need to put out there to make sure that what you're saying is what you mean, and what you're putting down is what people are picking up, is solely on your end here. Okay, so let's jump into the little guys. And I really appreciate everybody playing along with me, trying to keep things interesting. And honestly, I don't really need a thing for you to choose in order to read. And I'm not trying to say that this is arbitrary. And in a way, it kind of is. And it's more that it gives you something to focus on. And whether it's a crystal or a card or a little duck, it doesn't really matter, because you can find meaning in all things if you put that intention out there. Okay. So as I set the intention every week, I am looking for you to connect with what brings you a certain sense of wonder and curiosity and fun. I feel that there's a lot of heaviness going on, obviously, and I appreciate the levity. All right, here we go. So if you chose one, leopardy ducky duck. All right. Group 1. Connecting with your energy, I feel like exhaling. And this exhale feels very placid and calm. There's also a feeling of there being stress that is looking to be dissipated, and that is reaching a point that you can't really do a whole lot with stressing yourself out to the level that you have been, okay? I understand how that goes. And a lot of this is anxiety ridden. A lot of this is kind of exacerbated by the hustle and bustle. The beginning of this week was really heavy for some of you, especially in this group in the first duck one. And what it's causing is a need for there to be some grounding. Now, you'll be feeling much better once we get through the weekend and we shift from this sort of fiery energy of Leo into something a bit more easier to compartmentalize with Virgo energy. Now, remember when I was speaking about Virgo being mutable, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have highs and lows. It just means you're going to notice your peaks and valleys a bit more. And the goal is to seek for something that's a bit more middle of the road. How do you do that? Well, that's going to be your sort of homework assignment, is to make sure that you're taking time out to kind of check yourself and see how it is that you're feeling. Because the goal is to kind of get the body and the mind to reach a sort of center space where there's less imbalance. And those imbalances come up because there's a lot going on in the head. So a lot of thinking, a lot of ruminating, there's a lot of noise that's really happening. But some of this is because you're kind of inputting yourself or loading yourself up with a lot of stimulant. Now, for some of you, this is true in a stimulant way, sugar, caffeine, what have you. Where for others, it's more getting sucked into drama and things that are kind of intriguing to you because it gives you these weird sort of dopamine hits that you don't realize. It's interesting, it's quick, it's moving, and that's that fire energy. That's going to dissipate as we work with the moon. So please take this opportunity to do something about it. Sit with yourself and figure out how it is you want to feel. Put that down somewhere, write that out, and say that you invite in a sense of peace, a sense of calm. I invite in a feeling of stability within my body and my spirit. I am looking forward to having a better connection in my daily life, to where I'm more consistent throughout, and then I'm prioritizing my self-care. Working on your sleep, working on what it is that you're putting in your body, or at least being more mindful about creating a sense of balance. Don't get me wrong, I love a big old bowl of SpaghettiOs and spaghetti, like anybody else does. But, temper that with a salad, balance that out with, a smoothie. Get yourself in a space where you're keeping your body in a understanding that it's a machine, in a sense, that was working for you and with you. And it's easy to get out of whack. Okay. So utilize that energy of the moon. And how can you do that? You can, like I was saying, writing intentions down are great. And what you can do with that is you can take that outside and you can burn that on a piece of paper. You can rip it up and put it in the trash. There's lots of different ways that you can get rid of you can make an actual movement towards this intention and releasing it up to the universe and allowing the space to be supported and your intentions to be expanded upon, utilizing this 0 point energy, which is going to be super awesome. All right, moving on to 2. If you chose 2, you chose a hamburger. Ducky. Okay. Connecting with your energy 2. I'm hearing listen more than you're speaking. Working on active listening. It's important to have a perspective shift is what I'm hearing. So having a shift in perspective is going to be the thing that you're working towards. Now, you may be finding this in relationship. You may be finding this with people that you're working with or close family members that you are not necessarily on the same level of being understood, and there's a feeling of not being heard. Now, that kind of plays back to some things that you're working on, and a lot of that plays back to some early childhood sort of wounding around not having enough attention or not having to have something wrong in order to get paid attention to. And it brings up a feeling of, I hear bitterness, but that seems a little strong. Misplaced bitterness. So the frustration point is with you a little bit here too. And that can be uncomfortable. What's the guidance here? So there needs to be a bit more time alone. There needs to be some concerted efforts in taking time away from things that are feeding to other people. So whether that is a lot of time, on screens, whether that's a lot of communication with others that has been opened, or feeling like you need to be accessible to others a lot, feeling like you need to respond quickly, feeling like you have to be, available, and that is available in all of the ways. They're showing me like a rotary phone, and it's one that I used to have in my parents' house growing up, and it was the thing that, everyone coveted, being able to get on the phone and walk around and talk. And if somebody was on the line, you weren't able to get through. There wasn't any other option. So it's more the vibe here is, okay. The vibe here is to, if you're going to be making communications, or you're going to be making phone calls, or you're going to be making yourself available for X, Y, and Z person, that you do so in a concerted way that is very much A to B. So if you're going to make a phone call, you're going to make this one phone call and then you are no longer available. Or you are only available for this or for this period of time. There's a lot of grabby energy around you, and this grabby energy makes you feel depleted and also makes you feel a sense of feeling like you don't have enough of your own jelly beans to fill yourself back up again. This happens, and this Virgo energy is actually what will exacerbate that to a little bit, to a point, excuse me. And why that is exacerbated a bit is because Virgo wants to be of service, and there is a desire to heal and to show support through being someone to help facilitate. It's not your job, and that doesn't mean you don't care. It's just you guys need to put a little bit of boundary magic here out there for yourselves. So utilizing things like some people are thinking about switching to like different apps or something that will help with time management, or things that will help with scheduling. There's like, I see calendar apps, I see some things like that. Those things would be great in order to get you in more of a pace, or even like using your watch and saying, I will give this person 15 minutes of my time, And you can even start to speak in ways that allow you to exit ahead of the conversation itself, or ahead of the interaction itself, or ahead of you being in a participatory role. There may be things you don't want to attend, and you're able to say, I'm not sure if I'm going to come or not. I'm going to wait and see how I feel, and expressing that out. So let yourself love on yourself by respecting your time and energy here too. Okay. And moving on to 3. Octopus. Yeah. His name is Ocho. All right. Little Ocho and my people in 3. Connecting with your energy 3, I actually feel a lot of fullness in the belly that's rising up into the chest. This feeling of kind of being full up. There's almost a feeling of absorbing a lot of tension. And you're working through some things. A lot of this is coming up in dream time. A lot of this is coming up in meditation. It's also coming up in conversation with others. There's things that you're trying to work through. My ears like going, wee wah. So, things happening here on the left side, which is your receiving side, the feminine side of our energy centers. And this feeling of needing to constantly take in, very similar to 2, but different. This has to do more with your own stuff. Where 2 is much more about the people who are around and access to personal energy there. This is more about you and yourself and the stuff that you're working through. There's some badgering going on, some personal sorts of ruminating, feelings of needing to kind of, I don't know. It's almost like you're giving yourself a hard time about some things. And this is part of the process. There's also an energy surge and decline that's happening here. So you're noticing maybe really early in the day, early in the morning even, having a boost of energy and then a complete sort of falling off at a time that seems not necessarily connected to, like, right after you eat or something like that. Minding your energy here is going to be really important, because a lot of the stuff that you're working through is kind of like defragging a computer, right? Where you're being put in a sense of recalibrating to a different level of frequency than what you've been on before. And remember, the body takes time to catch up. So as our energetic selves are out there, flying around doing all kinds of cool shit, you're not necessarily, you and your physical body are not necessarily there yet. And that's going to take a little bit of time. Now today we actually have the moon is void. And when the moon is void, we feel a sense of detachment. There's also big Schumann spikes. And if you're affected by Schumann resonance energy, there's almost a blackout that's happening here. And that feels a sense of void. And that void space feels, it feels almost like you've been left out adrift, and you've experienced this feeling before and know that that's not necessarily true. It's a both and. It's remembering in a source and spirit way that you can never not be connected. That's impossible. You are it. And the human vessel and its nervous system is kind of hardwired to protect. So that desire to try and check and make sure everything's okay, or check and there's always a feeling of like impending doom, like when is the other shoe going to drop? It isn't. And it's a protective measure that you've gotten used to kind of running. It's a program you've gotten used to running. The scanning for issues, the jumping from one concluded thing that has been completed to the next problem, instead of having time here in the present and understanding that at this very moment, everything is perfect in this now moment. So the advice here is, it was kind of what I just was speaking of. Being more mindful about when that feeling of separation or even a sense of worry comes up, to address the worry itself. logic through some of this. That Virgo energy is going to assist there because it's going to want to say, hey, I need a check and balance for you're saying that this is happening because of this. Is that true, or is that something that I am feeling which is tied to a limiting belief or something that keeps me safe? Because your egoic self is going to want to protect and not put you in a space where you feel discomfort, because it itself feels discomfort and doesn't like that and also wants to be in control. So there's this sort of push-pull energy that's happening here too. And remember, it's that mutable vibe. So you just roll with it, flow with it, try to do your best in being consistent with showing up for yourself and allowing yourself some time to process these things. And a lot of this will be coming up emotionally. There's some irrationality that it feels almost like, like, why am I feeling so emotional about this? Why is this something that feels triggery to me? Through the wound is where the light comes in. This is kind of like the peeling back layers, trying to understand why things come back around again and what it is we're supposed to learn this next time. And as Mercury is fully scooching out, that retrograde vibe, while we do still have other planets in retrograde, will be kind of pushing that energy. That Leo Mercury is wanting to show out, where that Virgo energy is wanting to contain and figure out the best way to make it the most efficient. And you're kind of in that space of trying to figure both of those things out for yourself. And it can be a little tricky. If you need help with that, this is what I'm here for, okay? So those are the messages this week. Thank you so much for being here with me. Would love to hear how they land for you, so leave me some feedback. Thank you so much for everybody who shared and liked, subscribed, and all those things, and have been, tagging their friends, for the referrals and the reviews. I really, really appreciate you. It's been awesome. And let me know what you think of the format. I am looking to kind of switch some things up, so you will be my little guinea pigs. Thank you so much for being there with me. And if you'd like to work with me, would love to work with you. I have lots of different options and would love to speak with you, even if it's something that you've been kind of gnawing on for a bit. So let's have a conversation. Reach out. Okay? Here's my website. Blah, la, la, la. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Please work with this moon. Please, please, please. This is like one of the best things you can do. Okay? The energy is perfect. So if you're wanting to bring it in, you're wanting to see more of what you desire, write it down, speak it out, make it happen. You have that power. Okay? Peace.